The affair happened when I was 18. He was the new pastor at my church. I got pregnant, and his wife found out and filed for divorce and told everyone about the affair. His wife and him didn't have any kids, and he didn't fight her in the divorce. But because the house they were living on belonged to the church, she got the house he bought us, and she had me and my sons evicted by the police. She is also suing me because of the affair. He had promised that he would be with me and we would get married, but he has disappeared off the face of the earth, and I have not seen him in over a year. He's never even met our sons. No one could find him, so the court could get him to pay child support. I regret what I did. I'm not proud of it at all, and I hate myself. I feel worthless and like my sons deserve a better mom. They're the only reason I get out of bed anymore. I'm depressed about almost being homeless, the lawsuit, and my actions to break up a marriage. I know I need to be better for my boys, but I cry about it every day and can't bear to look in the mirror because of the mess my life is. I don't know what to do to start getting better. Why don't you reach out to his family and try to find him, parents or siblings? What have you done to try to reach him? Also, look into social services. There are a crap ton of resources for single moms. His family disowned him after the divorce. My lawyer hired a private investigator or someone to try and find him, and they couldn't locate him anywhere in America. OP, you need to move. I know small towns and judgmental churches. I guarantee that your ex did this with other girls. I actually would advise your lawyer to look for proof of a pattern to show the court. But realistically, you will pay all the penalties because you are the woman. Not fair. You will always be the S that destroyed that poor family. Every day, your mistake and shame will be shoved in your face. However, your children will also pay the price. Playdates won't happen, no decent babysitters. Kids will learn to insult them from their Christian parents. If there is any trouble between your children and another one, it will always be your fatherless children's fault. If you aren't getting family support, then please move away from this horrible town to a new beginning. Put this behind you and focus on being a great mom to two amazing kids. Pack up all that shame and guilt and forgive yourself. You only have one life to live and one time to be the best parent in the world to those kids. Move. It's not your house. The man bought it with his money from his marriage. He stole from his marriage and their joint assets to pay for you. They are inherently not your assets, morally or legally, so don't pursue them. You were young, but you were an adult. I guess he was in a position of power or dietal influence, so you felt special and chosen. But hey, you're an adult, and didn't your religion say adultery was a sin? Life is full of mistakes that people learn and grow from. Yours is harder than most, but you are young and you have time to grow and live a fulfilling life. Seek help from a woman's shelter. There are probably venues for free legal advice or affordable therapy. Pursue child support from your children's father, but do not expect more from him. Don't pretend that if he turns up, you'll magically have your picture-perfect Christian family. You are not a bad mother, so long as you make your children a priority. Don't be too ashamed to seek help from people. My cousin Grace, 30 female, is getting married in May. She asked me in 2022 to be her maid of honor, but I was hesitant about agreeing because I know weddings are pricey and I'm not financially well off. I'm a single mom of two and pretty much live paycheck to paycheck. I shared my concerns and she reassured me that there will not be too many expenses. She will pay for my dress and makeup, and I would be responsible for the shower and bachelorette, but those costs will be split by the wedding party, and her parents would also be contributing money towards those events. I agreed, but since then, I have sunk about $8,000 into the wedding. She had 3 showers and 3 bachelorettes all in different countries. Her family and fiancé are wealthy, so she's never been told no before. I couldn't attend half of these events, as I couldn't afford paying for the event, as well as my own airfare and stay. The most recent event was a bachelorette party, a week in Aruba. The flights, resort, came to about $4,000 per person. I couldn't swing that for myself, but I could cover her portion once split with the other bridesmaids. She didn't take it well that I was missing yet another event. All of her friends showed up to all events, but her maid of honor missed half. I explained that her friends are all coupled and wealthy, and I was a struggling single mom trying to do my best for her. She wasn't happy, but dropped it. Around the same time, I celebrated my daughter's birthday by taking a road trip with my kids to a neighboring city for the weekend. Grace learned about this and went off on me about not having money to spend on her wedding, but having money to do wasteful things like weekends away with my kids. I was stunned. The amount of time and effort I've put into this wedding, and she was coming after me for celebrating my daughter's birthday. Since then, she has been policing my spending, making comments when I buy my kids things like food and clothes. It all came to a head when I asked her about her registry for the wedding, and she told me that she wants cash gifts only, anything between $500 and $1,000 per person. I explained that given all I've contributed so far, I can't gift her $500 cash, but I'm happy to buy her a little something. She was furious, once again commenting how I'm wasteful with my spending habits, always buying useless things for my kids. I had enough. On top of tightening my budget for the past year to afford her wedding, I felt like a terrible mother as I couldn't spend much time with my kids. I couldn't take them out to eat. I couldn't buy them the occasional treat. Yes, I don't have much, but I am a good mom who can support my kids and spoil them occasionally because they deserve it. Now I just feel crappy on all accounts. I told her that I will not be able to attend this wedding as I cannot afford it anymore. She has now told our entire family that I am abandoning her a month out. Everyone is mad at me and calling me a terrible person to treat family this way. I also feel bad for leaving her without a maid of honor, but I have had enough. Am I the a-hole? $8,000. That's a used car or savings or an investment in your children. $8,000? Honestly, you're the a-hole. You want to know why? What kind of a struggling single mom living paycheck to paycheck spends $8,000 on a series of over-the-top events for a greedy, entitled, vacuous bride? In some parts of the country, $8,000 can put you halfway to the down payment on a house. It's a nice contribution to a college fund. What are you going without? What are your kids going without? So you can foot the bill for this lunacy. Grow the heck up and start using a modicum of sense when deciding how to spend your limited funds. Not the a-hole. Only wrong thing you've done is not pull out way sooner. In fact, you might be the a-hole for having sunk $8,000 into events you couldn't even attend when you're pretty much living paycheck to paycheck due to peer pressure. But Bridezilla clearly takes the top prize. 3 bachelorettes and 3 bridal showers, and she describes your spending as wasteful and all the things you buy for your kids as useless. Wow. My 31 male, American, great uncle passed away recently. He was in his mid-90s and had been not well for a while. His last few years were miserable after his much younger, 20 years, wife died of cancer. I was always really close with my great uncle and treated him as a grandfather of sorts, and he often told me how much I meant to him. I visited him a few times a month when I lived nearby and called every week when I didn't. My brother, 33 male, on the other hand, was not as close to him, despite him trying to maintain a relationship with him, mostly because my great uncle was a really difficult person and basically had a very short list of people he liked. He married for the first time at 75 and had no kids, so essentially, my brother and I were the closest he had to grandkids. Also, he was extremely frugal in his life and a smart and/or lucky investor. So after his death, we discovered that he had 7.5 million USD in assets, almost all liquid, no property or anything, which is actually crazy, but I digress. Of this, he decided to leave me 39% and my brother 9%. Obviously, it's a huge amount of money, and that alone I've been trying to process as his attorney wraps up his estate and prepares to distribute his assets. My parents think I should give my brother half of my share so that we would be equal, which I have considered, but even my brother is not asking me to do it. I've been going back and forth on this, and although last thing I'd want is to create tension between me and my brother, his 9% share is still a lot of money. Recently, he told me he was thinking about buying a house, and I suggested that I could pay the down payment for my share and then own a piece of the house, which would be a way of sorts to help make it more even. To be honest, I wished my great uncle would have just given us equal shares to begin with, but he didn't, and just giving away money is not an easy decision. Not the a-hole. 1, your brother wasn't close to this great uncle. 2, your great uncle gave you the larger share, all the while still giving your brother money too. And you also stated 9% is a lot of money, so it's not like your brother will be broke. 3, you can reassure your brother that you will always be there for him if he is ever stuck financially. Your great uncle wanted you to have all of this money. If I were you, I wouldn't split it, but would be there if other family members are in need. Don't listen to your parents. It's bad advice, especially if your brother isn't asking for money. Not the a-hole for not wanting to split it. If you were closer to your great uncle, that seems reasonable. However, offering to pay your brother's down payment doesn't make anything more even if you expect to then own a piece of his home. If you really want to make a gesture of fairness, just pay the down payment as a gift without taking ownership. Not the a-hole. You don't have to share your inheritance with your brother. It was your uncle's choice to leave you a more significant share of his assets. Your brother was not left out of the will. And frankly, you and your brother are adults, and your parents really don't get a say here. That being said, saying that you will pay your brother's down payment and then own part of his house does nothing to make the situation more even. I, 26 female, was invited to my grandparents' 54th wedding anniversary, along with the rest of my family. My 28 female sister brought along her 39 male boyfriend, which wasn't unusual as they've been dating for 3 years now. I've never liked him due to their large, in my opinion, age difference. It's just always been really awkward being around him, which may be my fault as I've been cold to him. Our parents don't seem to have any issues with him. Anyways, at their anniversary dinner, my grandpa gave a speech about my grandma, which was really sweet. After his speech, my sister's boyfriend stood up and started tearing up and talking about how much he loved my sister. He then got down on one knee and proposed to her. I thought that this was really weird as it was my grandparents' anniversary dinner and it was supposed to be about them. I stood up and cleared my throat at them to try and send them the message that this was not the time or place. I know it probably wasn't up to me to say anything, but I've never liked my sister's boyfriend and thought this was a really inappropriate setting. My sister's boyfriend then started yelling at me, saying that I was ruining their special moment. My sister stood next to him with her arms crossed. No one else said anything, and we left immediately after. I feel like I've ruined my grandparents' anniversary, and on top of that, made my sister and her boyfriend mad at me. Our mom and dad have yet to say anything, and I can't stop thinking about how awkward the whole situation was. Am I the a-hole? Edit. For those asking, my sister's boyfriend was her professor in college, and that's why I initially didn't like him. Everyone sucks here. Sister's boyfriend is an a-hole for having the absolute audacity to make someone else's celebration about him. The yelling at you was ridiculous. The whole thing is just so gross and tacky. Sister is an a-hole for going along with the above. I'd be livid and completely humiliated if I were her. You're an a-hole for making an even bigger scene. Had you just let it play out, the anniversary celebration probably could have been salvaged. Your poor grandparents deserve better. Hey, everyone makes mistakes. It's okay. So, yeah, you're the a-hole. It wasn't your party. It wasn't your engagement. It's not your boyfriend. It's not your choice. You were a fellow guest, not the host. You're right. It wasn't your place to say anything. It's your sister's choice who she marries. She will be the one who has to live with the consequences of her actions. There's honestly nothing you can do about that. If you want to see your nieces and nephews, learn how to just suck it up and deal. She's marrying him. You aren't. You're the a-hole. This reads as, I don't like sister's boyfriend. Therefore, I can be a jerk to him. A golden opportunity to be a jerk to him occurred, and I jumped at the chance. It's not your place to judge who your sister dates, and it's not your place to jump down his throat in a party that you didn't have anything to do with directly. Based on what you've written here, it's possible he had permission from your grandparents. If anyone should have said anything, it should have been your grandparents, not you. I, 30 female, have an 8-year-old boy with my ex, Juan, 30 male. We were never married, just together for 2 years. Broke up before our child was born. I've been married for 6 years to my partner Carlos, 32 male, and he's been married to his partner Julie, 28 female, for 2 years. We have a good co-parent relationship. I try my best to accommodate to his work schedule so he can see and take our son for the weekend. We have lunch or dinner together once a month with our son so he can talk to us about school or anything going on, and so he can see his parents get along. These lunches don't take more than 30 minutes tops. We don't go anywhere fancy, just McDonald's or whatever our son wants, and all that's talked about is our son and what he has going on. Both of our partners are okay with that, or so I thought. A few months ago, My son told me he wasn't comfortable going over to his dad's house anymore. When asked why, he said because of Julie. I tried to ask more, but he wouldn't tell me. I told Juan what our child had said, and he said he'll look into it. We had our monthly lunch last month. Everything went fine. We went home, and then Juan called me to tell me Julie is not comfortable with us having lunch or dinner together, that she doesn't want me to be near him or for us to talk so often. He said to save his marriage issues, he's respecting her wishes. I told him her insecurities were not my problem, and he should be more worried about why our son is not comfortable around her anymore. I told him I'm not changing what's worked for our son for 8 years because she's insecure of a pregnant lady who's married and wants nothing with her husband but a healthy co-parenting relationship for their child. He said I was on speaker and that I didn't have to be such an a-hole. I didn't think I was, but my sister said I was a bit harsh. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. You are 100% correct. And also, even if he'd not done anything else wrong, not telling you were on speaker automatically makes him an a-hole. I hope Julie heard it and it knocked some sense into her. But I wouldn't count on it. And your ex is a coward, and you may have to accept that your son is going to lose some time with his dad because of it. And definitely don't let him go until you find out why he doesn't want to be at their house. I'll bet Julie is telling him awful things when no one else is around. Not the a-hole. 8 years, and this is the first snafu with co-parenting? Amazing. As someone whose parents are divorced, remarried, divorced, remarried, divorced. I'm in awe you two have been able to stay on track so far. What's going on with Julie? They've been married for 2 years, I presume together longer, and no issues, until now. Now your son is uncomfortable with Julie. You're experiencing some uncomfortableness with Julie. And even Juan is sounding uncomfortable with Julie, like he doesn't deserve to be trusted. He has to choose between his wife and his co-parenting plan, what has been working well for his child for 8 years. So what changed for Julie? Did Juan cheat on Julie? Also, D-bag move to have you on speaker and not let you know you're on speaker. Not the a-hole, not harsh, truthful. Your ex will be a total a-hole if he caves into his wife's insecurities. This arrangement has worked well for your son. Congrats on a good co-parenting relationship. And you're right, he should be more concerned as to why his son doesn't want to come around his wife anymore.